I'm really excited. My family's excited. I'm from Boca Raton, went to Boca High. Was originally committed to Florida Atlantic University, ended up going to Wisconsin, but I'm super excited to be a part of the staff with Coach Kitley and just excited to turn the program around.
Very good. Now, if we could talk, you're fortunate one of the last coaches to go because you've had the full spring to see your unit.
Mm-hmm.
If you could give us a preview of some of the guys that have had a great spring, not necessarily that are going to be the starters, but somebody that has made a huge jump between January and now.
I'm going to say the whole group, just being honest, like from what we've asked them to do from the very beginning, from football school to where we're at now, all the guys have made huge strides. Super proud of a guy like Duda, Cam, LJ, the corners. All those guys gonna have big roles for us. Zion came in early in the spring as a true freshman, coming in and doing some of the stuff he's doing. So we're really excited, all the safeties, everybody. The biggest thing is we're just trying to get everybody to be on the same page, throughout spring ball. So that was the biggest thing.
We kind of get excited talking about the up-tempo offense, but we forget the pressure that it puts on you guys. Has that been a challenge for you guys this fall, and what will that do for you moving into the spring and facing some similar offenses?
Definitely. I mean, whenever you got offense going as fast as our offense goes, well, it does one thing, it gets us in shape. One, forces us to communicate and just to be a lot more faster and just to be very detailed in everything we're doing. So it's good we're working through it now, so when we're facing tempo teams during the season, it won't be a shocker, because we're facing it every day in practice. So I think it's good for us.
Somebody mentioned, one of the coaches did earlier, I think it was Coach Santana, that sometimes you get lost in paradise, meaning that sometimes it's easy to lose focus on football and do things because of the community that we live in. Are you someone who can talk to the players and kind of explain, enjoy life now, and then when it's football, it's football?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, we want the players to enjoy themselves, right? They're in Boca Raton, Florida, down the street from the beach, a lot of things to do. But when it's time to work, we tell them it's time to work, making sure they're studying film, getting their academics done, staying ahead of the game. So we don't want them to be robots at the end of the day, but we still just, talk to them about just being smart, handling their business off the field so that it doesn't become an issue and a distraction. But, we still got to let them be, college students at the end of the day, but just try to educate them on being smart choices.
Questions?
Coach, I don't know if this is just a coincidence or not, but I noticed there's a few coaches, including you, on the staff that are actually from Wisconsin. I know Skubanek went to college there. Coach Schwans was there. Is that just a coincidence, or are the Badgers putting out great coaches?
Yeah, that's just a coincidence. I actually worked with Coach Swans at LSU, so we crossed paths at one point in time. But yeah, I don't think it was anything set up purposeful. I knew Swans was from Wisconsin back when we worked together in the past.
When it comes to your development, from the beginning of the spring until now, what's the mentality you've been trying to implement in the overall unit, and what type of growth have you seen from your unit when it comes to that?
Just a bunch of guys that's team guys that want to work hard, have great effort, and want to compete, playing fast and just being smart players, right? High football IQ, not just going out there playing, like it's high school ball. We gotta be smart. We gotta understand down and distance, situational football, and things like that. But that's just some of the things we're talking to them about right now. Just great effort, maximum effort, and playing fast.
How's your relationship been with Coach Dewhurst? I noticed actually this is the first year I've seen you have so many DB coaches, and I have Coach Bradshaw, Coach Carell Smith. How's it like, having so many DB coaches in mind?
It's great. I mean, just when you got so many guys that played the game and came from different places, and we're able to bounce ideas off one another. I mean, Coach Dewhurst, me and him clicked right away. And then Carell, with his background, he played at FAU. He's tied into the community just like me. Coach Dom, young, talented, smart. He does a great job relating to all our guys. So it's really good just having guys that can just work together. Like if I'm busy doing this, Coach Dom can easily go take the corners and do this. And if Coach Dewhurst is busy with this, Carell can take the safeties and the nickel and go do that. So, I think it's a good little deal.
When it comes to leadership, the spring is a great foundational aspect in terms of finding out what guys are going to be able to step up. Who have you seen step up throughout the spring in that regard so far?
I'm gonna say one of the guys, Duda, has done a great job. You know, kind of caught me off guard, but he's just a natural. He's an alpha. He's a leader, right? When he speaks, everybody listens. Jay Will has done a great job. You know, just making sure guys are in line. You know, everybody on the same page. So those are two guys that I say right now that has done a great job with just making sure our group is in line. And whether that's being on time to some, showing up to an event or whatever it is, and you know, just demanding that on the field, you know, being that voice for the coaches.
And then on the flip side of that, you know, you've mentioned some of the young guys. What's been your favorite thing, seeing how they've been able to come in and what they've been able to show throughout the spring?
I'm gonna say just all the guys are coachable. You know, when you come into a new program, you know, you think about, all right, what's the culture gonna be like? You know, it was actually pretty pleasant, just all the guys, everybody wants to get better at the end of the day, and they understand where we've been, the places we've been, and that at the end of the day, our end goal is to win games and to get them better. You know, making sure we're 1% better every day.
One guy I've heard a lot of his name around is Zion Barrett. How has he been coming in his freshman year?
Oh man, that kid he's done a lot of good things. Obviously, he still has a long way to go just understanding, you know, the football game, situational awareness and stuff like that. But just from a talent standpoint, fundamentals, movements, all that stuff, he has all that stuff down packed. So he's done some really good things so far.
Heading into the spring game, you know, it's a prime time situation, and guys are playing under the lights. What are you hoping to see from your group in terms of, you know, how they respond to that environment, and just overall, what are you hoping to see in the spring game?
Well, I think they faced the hardest test during practice. You know, we're stressing so much, finish, get to the ball, offense going 100 miles per hour. So to me, the game should be easy as far as a lot less thinking, just reacting and playing at that point, because we put them through so much during the week, you know, all throughout spring ball. So just looking for guys that just go out there, execute their assignment, play fast, and have some fun.
The success comes from having good players, and you try to establish a culture from the get-go. So the four things we try to establish is this in our defensive line, our edge room, is that we want to play with fanatical effort, we want to be physical, we want to be focused on the moment. Like I said, we always say, play with emotion, don't be emotional. And then the last thing is have fun. When you do those four things and you do it at a high level, you're going to be able to compete at a high level. So those are the things that we try to have as a basis, as a core. And I carried that from my first year in coaching all the way through to where I'm at right now. So that's what you kind of get with our group, is we're trying to install that culture in our group. What attracted me here is this, I mean, it's like they say, it's paradise, number one. I mean, you walk outside, it's 80 degrees, the beach is a mile and a half away, you know, especially coming from somewhere. I came from Western Michigan last year, you know, it's 40-something degrees and snowing up there today. So, you know, it's a little different atmosphere around here. The next thing is that you get to work with somebody like Coach Dewhurst, which we worked together at Southeastern Louisiana, won conference championships there. So in the same scheme, so that's the easy thing. You know, there's a lot of familiarity within our staff. Then you work with somebody like Coach Kidley, that's an offensive genius, that what he's done the last couple places he's been. So to me, it's just a match made in heaven in terms of what we do defensively and what they do offensively. And it's our job just to get our guys in position to execute.
Another thing that I'm always reminded of how small the world is when new coaches come in. And I mentioned it to you when you were hired. I saw your hometown and I asked you, did you know Jared Allen?
Yeah.
And you've probably followed Florida Atlantic's growth throughout the years because of Jared. What have you seen through that growth?
I've seen it go from where Jared came here and nobody knew about it to two coaches that came through and really revolutionized. We're hoping we're the third staff that can revolutionize and get this thing re-energized back, because it can be a pillar in this conference. We have every resource that we need. Recruiting's easy to get guys to come down here. And you look at our facilities is probably second to none to anybody in our conference. Funny story, Jared used to throw me passes when I was a senior and he was a sophomore. I remember one time I told him, I said, I don't care what was called on the play, throw me daggone ball. So when I got the job, he was the first one that tweeted me out, you know, hey, glad you got the job. And he still lives back in the hometown. But I knew it was something special when I came here. Just when you see the facilities, you see the players that we have, you see what how the community is ready for this thing to blow up. All we got to do is do our part. And we feel like we're trying to get on that road and trying to move that way in terms of getting this program back to where it should be. It should be in contention for a playoff team or be in contention for a conference championship every year.
You're from Edmond?
Yes.
I lived in Norman for 3 years.
Really, my wife went to school at OU, so I've been in Norman quite a
I
bit.
lived about 8 blocks from the center of the campus.
I've just seen a lot of good things.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Coach, it sounds like, because I know you were brought on kind of the same time Coach Fenelus was, slightly later. It sounds like you worked with Coach Dewhurst before. So what was that call like when he said he wants you to join the staff?
I said, let's go. It's easy. It's fun when you coach other places, and then it's even better when you get back with guys that you've coached and had success with, because then you're taking what you've learned and saying, okay, hey, this is what I learned while we were apart. And he said, okay, this is what I've learned while we were apart. How can we make that all gel? So you talk about like him or Coach Schwann's. Me and Coach Schwann's were on the same staff. We actually worked together longer than I did with Coach Dewhurst. So same thing, and it's funny, the roles. I coach the edges now. I was the D-line guy when I was with them. So now I'm the edges, and Coach Schwann's the inside backers coach. And we joke back and forth like, man, you remember when we were together? It was always like this, blah, 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 blah. So it's almost like siblings, you know? And it's not arguing, it is, well, you know this and I know this, and that's the thing, you speak the same language without even having to worry about like the getting the gel or getting to know each other. Like we already know each other pretty well, so that's what makes the transition on this thing really fluid and easy for us, and it's getting it to our players. So like for instance, I can go to him and be like, hey, the linebacker called that one wrong, right? Yeah, he should have been this, or hey, what happened here? Hey, we were out of our gap. We didn't get lined up correctly. And there's no like, oh, it's somebody, we all know where the problems are. So it makes it easy.
You mentioned the tenets of what you're looking for at the position. What have you seen from guys in terms of stepping up in those categories and how they've progressed from the beginning of the spring until now?
I think we've done a decent job at trying to learn what we need to do to win. I always think it's hard when you go somewhere new that has not had a lot of success in changing the culture in terms of how do you go play winning football. So what we've tried to establish is that every day is a resume, every day is something new. You gotta go out there and prove yourself every day. So we have certain standards that we try to live up to. And there's been days when we've done it, there's been days we haven't done it. And that's the part, we're trying to get to that where every day is a peak performance, so that way that when you go out and you go play in the games, like I think you asked a question earlier about the Friday should take care of itself because you've already done the work. So I always say we fall back on our training, no matter what. And I think the guys have done a good job of adapting to what we've asked. You know, so we've asked them to do some things that are slightly different. They're maybe a little different, a little awkward for them at times, and they've done a good job adjusting. Now, are we ready to push the envelope? You know, my challenge in my room is that we have some guys that play about 3 or 4 plays real hard. Okay, good. So does that mean in 3 or 4 plays we're playing Maryland game 1, you can only play 3 plays and get you out, then that's what it is. But if you think you can play, no, I can play 6 or 7, then show me through your practice and through your prep that you can play 7 or 8 plays at a high level. That's what we're looking for.
And tying into that, spring is a time where you see some leadership qualities emerge. You see guys step up to the plate. In your position group, who have you seen rise to the occasion? So
It's really been kind of a mixture of guys. There's not been one set guy. In fact, that's been my challenge in my group, is that who's going to be the alpha. You know, the easy one to point out would be Chisholm for us because he's a senior. I've challenged him, okay? Another guy would be Wilkie because of the fact that he's played a lot of ball. But you think about it, outside of those 2 guys, there's a lot of guys that have not played football, or they're played as true freshmen, or they're a redshirt freshman. So, like, Eric Brantley is a great one. Played last year as a true freshman, okay? He's learning how to play football. You know, August is a guy that didn't play at all last year, but has a really good ability to rush the quarterback, okay? Then there's unknowns like Alex and like Tom, who really didn't get their opportunities, but they've shined in the roles that we've asked them to do, okay? There's Gavich, who's been hurt, but then, okay, what's his leadership been when he's been hurt? You know, there's different ways to lead than just by the way you play. So to answer the question, we don't have an alpha right now, we're looking for that guy. And that's my challenge to you or my challenge to my group is, who's going to be the guy that when it gets tough is going to step up? Because I don't play. I say all the time, I'm like the CEO of the company. My job is to give you all the tools to be able to make the company run, okay? You're out there playing. I need one of you guys to be the alpha or the leader, okay? We call ourselves, just so you know, we call ourselves a black ops group. Why? It's just like in the military. You send these guys in to do what? To do all the dirty work, to be the first guys, the first boots on the ground. Well, even within that group, there's a captain of the elite group. Who's that guy that's leading that group? That's to be determined. And that's what we're looking for in that group. We're looking for somebody to step up and take that job.